And so this is starting just in the middle of the forest. Sarah, Timothy's sister, starts by saying this. Morris dancers, Timothy. Timothy's knees grew weak as if he needed to sit down. Here in the middle of the woods, 6 dancers appeared, all dressed in white. Bright red ribbons hung from their arms and small bells tinkled as they danced. One of the men played a tin whistle. The last dancer walked solemnly, bearing a pole at least 8 feet long. At his signal, the rest of the men stopped while he wrestled the pole into the ground. Timothy forgot about his growling stomach as he watched. Bright streamers floated from the top, a maypole. He had danced around a smaller one in elementary school. Each of his classmates held onto a ribbon and they danced in a circle around a pole until the teacher stopped the music. Then they reversed direction and danced the other way. But that maypole was only a shadow of this tall one. While the one man played the tin whistle, the others wove in and out between each other, and as they danced, the ribbons on the pole became braided. The swiftest dancer of all was the smallest. Timothy found it almost impossible to track him in the dance. He moved like a high and intricate melody that wound itself among the other dancers. Timothy looked at his companions. Stargirl watched without expression. Gwyden the wolfhound lay by Ceridwen's side with his nose on his enormous paws. The green man swayed in rhythm to the music, and Sarah laughed as if she were delighted to be lost in a storm with a group of insane people. Only Mrs. Clapper wasn't watching the dance. Her eyes were focused on something at the edge of the clearing, something that waited in the shadows. Now, I'm going to jump ahead to another section in the book that occurs almost 6 months later. Timothy, it's Halloween, another one of the Celtic Fire Festival times. Timothy has his friend Jessica over, and they're answering the door as trick-or-treaters come to the door. And it's getting to be the end of the night when all the little kids in costumes are gone, right? And now it's just the older kids out, and they're out just for the candy. And they have a little bit left, so Jessica smiled and took the bowl of treats from Timothy. Open your bag. You're probably the last people tonight, and we might as well get rid of all this candy. Timothy was about to protest, but his attention was caught by the 4th person on the porch. Like the others, the figure was bundled in black, but his face was disguised by a rubber mask. A dark hood shaded the mask from the porch light. Most disturbing of all, Timothy couldn't tell if the figure was male or female. At first he thought the masked figure was part of the group, but when the others melted into the shadows, clutching their bulging bags of candy, the hooded shape lingered, a pillowcase extended like an offering. The night grew still without wind or noise. Timothy felt his scalp tingle. Jessica drew a deep breath behind him. Timothy grabbed the last handful of candy from the bowl and leaned forward, deliberately dropping it piece by piece into the pillowcase so he could steal a closer look under the stranger's hood. In the dim light, the trick-or-treater's rubber face was gray and puffy, the nose a misshapen blob. Above it was a dark-rimmed opening for a single eye. Timothy jumped back and Jessica gasped. The hooded figure took a step toward the lighted living room. A raspy hum rose like a swarm of bees from behind the mask. Something in the pillowcase squirmed. Timothy's mind screamed for him to shut the door, but his arms refused to obey. The figure shuffled forward, 1 foot raised across the threshold, then stopped, abruptly as if it had run smack into an invisible barrier. The figure shuddered and dropped the sack. At the same moment, a large shape swooped down across the porch, followed quickly by another. The eagles. The stranger flung his arms across his face. "Shut the door!" Jessica cried. Finally, Timothy's arms moved. He flung the door closed, but a moment too late. A large brown rat darted out from the pillowcase and scampered across the threshold into his house. Okay, I'm going to stop there. And of course, if you're a reader of fantasy, you know that it's got to be no ordinary rat that goes into the house. And again, this is all part of the quest that Timothy, Jessica, and Sarah find themselves on, and it's continued in the second book. It involves the four lost treasures of Ireland and a little bit about a true story of the Stone of Destiny, the stone that all of the kings of Scotland have been crowned on for centuries, and they say may have come from Ireland. And there's a mystery about whether that stone still survives today or whether it's hidden on Dunsinane Hill by the monks of Scone. So that gives you a little taste of what the story is like, and now I'd like to have the Morris dancers come back and do 2 dances for you and tell you a little bit about the history of Morris dancing.